So, the only thing really to decide now, Dylan, is which one of us is playing the Vietnamese and which one of us is playing the Navy. You said earlier that you honestly didn't mind either way, or did you change your
I'm
mind?
fine with either.
All
I'm
right.
fine with
Now that you know the Phantoms have gun pods, do you want to change your mind? Or now that you realize the Vietnamese have SAMs on the board, do you want to change your mind? Okay, if it honestly doesn't matter to you, I will roll 2d6. If black comes up high, I will play the Vietnamese,
Yep.
and we'll see what happens. The black came up high, I am playing the Vietnamese. So, welcome to the U.S. Navy, Mr. Dillon, and let's get started here. Okay, so the absolute worst initiative here is the 1. That's me. I'm going to go ahead and declare a speed. Now, my maximum speed on these MiG-17s is a 12. If you ever end a turn with more than 12, you start taking damage. You can literally fly your plane apart. This is really easy to do in a Harrier, as I found out to my cost in the Falklands campaign, so you got to be careful here. The Phantom is literally Mach 2. I mean, that's 24 inches a turn. It's proof that if you put enough thrust behind a brick will fly. So the Phantom is definitely a lot faster. It has a higher stall speed, so you have to be going at least 5. If you ever end a turn and you're doing less than 5, you're going into a stall, so you got to be careful with that. The one big advantage that the North Vietnamese are going to have is my high maneuverability rating. I can turn on a dime. F4 Phantom, not so much.
And so just for people wondering, you've got 2 acceleration phases, so you can go accelerate twice during the turn, and you've got a deceleration value that's sort of fixed too. So if I come barreling on at 24, that's probably not the best idea.
So here's how the movement works. If you're moving, whatever your speed is, that's how much you move in a turn. Simple, right? You divide that in half. You move half your movement. You do 1 turn on the turn wheel, up to and equal to whatever your maneuverability class is. We only have 2 aircraft types on the table. 1 high maneuverability, 1 medium maneuverability. It's a big difference, but it's not crucial. But it is a big difference. That determines how fast you can move, or I'm sorry, how fast you can turn. Then you move the second half of your movement, and then you apply a second turn, again, up to the limit prescribed on the turning wheel. So, this is the first turn. Technically, what I would have done here, just while we're learning the rules, is, okay, MiG number 2 has a declared speed of 12. I move 6, then I do a turn. I'm not turning at all. I do the second half of my movement, I go to 12. Am I turning at all? No, because I have no idea where anybody is, because I lost initiative, so I'm just going to stay at 12. So I kind of buzzed through that first turn sequence, but that's how it would work. Okay. He says he's coming in right on the 5. So the 5, the little marker here. So here it comes. Again, the blue dot is where he actually is, and he gets to that spot. That's 5 boxes in. All right, so there he is. Are you executing any turns, or are you happy with flying straight?
No turns, I'll keep flying straight.
All right, so then he flies 5 more inches. Again, you just use the blue dot as your spot. And at the end of your turn, are you doing any more facing changes? You do have
No
one
changes.
enemy bogey that you do have a sight on. I think he's in all the arcs, so plus you're too far away. But just in case, no worries. Cool. So where is Phantom number 1 going to go?
He's going to come 2 spaces above Phantom number 2.
Got it.
We'll call them Patriot 1 and Patriot
Patriot 1, I'm on your left wing, a little low. Or technically your right wing. Cool. So lock is a 5+. Alright. There's a battery of 6 missiles. There's a limited number of SA-2s I can launch, and they can launch 3 at a time. So I'm going to try and lock on with 3 SA-2s, and I can only launch a missile if a successful lock-on has been made. That's pretty much the CGR, that's Command Ground Radar. That's a ground radar station that's trying to lock on, and that ground radar station is connected to all these missile sites. So here comes, let me get Mr. Webcam going here. And a 10, a 9, and a 1. Okay, so now I'm not being cheesy. So that missile obviously does not launch, he could not lock on, but these 2 scored above a 5+ as designated here. Okay, so the target I'm going to go after here is going to be Okay, those don't hit yet. They don't hit until next turn. And what you do with missiles is you kind of use the marker to kind of show the target aspect ratio. I think that concludes phase 1 of turn 1. So MiG number 2 is way down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Slight turn. So Bogey is maneuvering, still bearing 270, but he's closing fast. He's at his max speed, which is 12, which is roughly Mach 1. And yeah, he's coming for you. Alright, so your speed is thus still a 10. Okay, we'll go ahead and do the first 5 inches of your movement. Okay, and now I ask if you are doing any turns.
I'm gonna do a turn.
Okay. The one advantage that the North Vietnamese have is that the Phantoms, being flying bricks, do not turn terribly well. So you're allowed to turn up to the M's, not up to the H's.
So I'll do an M turn.
Okay.
To the south.
Got it. So there you are. We kind of line up the nose, make sure that that blue dot is in the root of the wheel, so to speak. And again, these are inch-long hash marks, so what we're able to do is pretty much move your blue dot to the 5th one, and that's your movement. Now, technically, you're allowed to do another turn if you want.
Yeah, I'll do a turn back to 0.
Oh, okay, cool. So you're basically doing like a long S-turn kind of thing?
Pretty much, yeah.
Sweet. Awesome. Okay, I'll go ahead and finish up the rest of my movement then. This guy, just to kind of speed things along, is just pretty much going to be on his wing. And MiG number 3 is pretty much just going to be like... Alright.
Okay.
Resolve missiles from last phase. There were missiles fired from last phase. We have 2 SAM-2s. So here it comes. Those 2 SAM-2s are going to go ahead and try to hit F-4 Phantom, U.S. Navy number 2. This is all for guns, this is for missiles. Pilot skill modifier. Okay, I have a +1, you have a +1, so we're just going to go ahead and keep that at 0. IR missile locked from it's not an IR missile, but it is an SARH, that is semi-active radar homing missile fired from target front. So I'm just going to use this this ice box here to count the modifiers. That's a -1. It's very tough to launch a missile at somebody from the front. It's possible, but again, just geometry, just deflection. It's hard to. It's always better to shoot a missile at somebody from behind. So that's a negative penalty for me. Launch inside minimum range, no. Launch without a lock, no. Target did a successful brake turn or VIF, -3. That's where the brake turn would have helped. Split S, barrel roll, different maneuvers. They have different difficulties or whatever. Target is not at low altitude. Target is not stalled. Target drops flare versus IR missile, not applicable. Target drops chaff versus SAHR. Versus a radar missile. So your plane carries no less than 8 flares and 8 pieces of chaff. SA2 guideline. These are not the most advanced missiles in the world. They hit on a 7+. Again, I have 2 negative penalties, so now they hit on a 9+. So my chances of hitting you with an SA2 are not great. But I'm going to go ahead and make that roll and see what happens. And that is a 1 and a 2. Alright, so you deployed chaff, you did a little bit of a turn, and those 2 missiles sailed right past you. No worries there. And that's 2 of my missiles used up. So, let's do it correctly this time. Prep segment, apply speed changes. I am applying no speed changes. Mr. Dillon, are you applying any speed changes?
Yep, I'm going to take advantage of my speed and I'm going to increase them both by 3.
Alright, 13 and 13. You are nowhere near your VMAX. If I was flying that fast, my plane would literally be taking damage just from wind resistance. And you're another 450 knots. 1 point of speed in this game is roughly 50 knots. You're 450 knots. That's like 600 kilometers an hour before your plane even notices. So my plane would be on fire at your speed, and your plane's, the rivets aren't even shaking yet. I mean, These poor MiG-17s, man, they're pretty terrible. Two of my MiG-17s, I'm gonna just do my first pair, say 3 and 4. 3 and 4 are actually going to speed up. And I know what you're thinking. You can't do that. You're gonna blow your 14. You're gonna blow up your plane. Well, again, the secret sauce is in the turn sequence. Apply speed changes. Place your maneuver cards, roll initiative, you do all your movement, you do all your fire. Speed segment, excess speed damage. So if you're over your speed when you get to the bottom of the turn sequence, here's where you put the damage on. So what my guys are doing, what two of my MiGs are doing, is they are, I'm going to go ahead and declare an Immelman for those two planes. What they're doing is they're dumping a little bit of speed into their throttle as they're pulling up on the stick. And I'm going to try and do an Immelman, and we're going to see what happens. Okay, so now that we have declared our maneuvers, Dylan, what were your, and I've now made my decision. Dylan, what maneuvers, if any, did you declare for your two Phantoms?
Both of my Phantoms are going to be unloading.
Oh no, I was afraid of that. Unload is basically a power dive, guys. You pretty much just aim the aircraft slightly down and you just put more power into the engines. Okay, cool. So he's basically squeezing an extra, if he makes a success, he's going to squeeze some extra speed out of it. Obviously, unload is a nice, easy maneuver. Pretty much he has to roll a 3 up on a D10. I have to roll a 7 plus to do this Immelman correctly. Again, a 6 plus because we're all good pilots. The reason the Immelman, again, has two values is if you're a high-powered aircraft, you get to roll a 6. Which these MiG-17s are not. They're highly maneuverable, but they're not high-powered. Okay, so we've declared our maneuvers. Now we're going to go ahead and roll initiative. One thing I like about the game is how you have to declare your maneuvers before you roll initiative.
That's really interesting, yeah. So you can't really plan things too much.
Okay, so the worst initiative is MiG number 4. MiG number 4 is now technically doing 14, which means his speed is now 7. So, hold on. Let me go by the rules here. He's doing an Immelman. Alright, the first paragraph is if I succeed, the second paragraph is if I fail. So one reason I definitely wanted to put extra thrust, this game actually makes you play a little bit of a flight simulator. If you don't put thrust into an Immelman and then you fail the Immelman, you can drop below your stall speed and fall right out of the sky. So for anyone who might not know what an Immelman is it's Max Immelman, I think, was the actual pilot who invented this maneuver in World War I. And what he does is he pulls up on his stick, and he basically pulls all the way up until he almost does like half a barrel, and he winds up on his back like 500 feet above where he started. And as he kind of corkscrews back around and comes back up on his belly, he is now able to point the aircraft pretty much wherever he wants. It's almost a controlled stall. Controlled stall. Was this a controlled stall? Let me turn on the webcam and we'll find out. And OBS, I swear to God, I'm about ready to... If you were a person, I would slap you right now. Alright, so, I got the webcam up. We're going to go ahead and try. I have to make a 7 plus on a D10. It's a 6 plus because I'm a good pilot. So, I'm just being a little bit riskier. Let's see what we got with. And I got a 10. So, that is a successful Immelman. Unfortunately, I lost the initiative. I'm going to try and do another Immelman with MiG number 3. And 5, he failed it. Oh no. So the guy that made the initiative failed it. The guy who lost the initiative succeeded. So yeah, I'm getting the worst of all worlds here. Alright, so he zooms up. He's now doing 14, so he has to move the full 7. And then he's facing a random direction. So what I do with this is very simple, a D12, and it's going to be the clock ray method. He is pointing at 12 o'clock, so he's pretty much in a flat spin. Almost. He's heading up that way, and I'm pretty sure a failure gives you a tracks a fire bonus. Yep.
And his speed is reduced by 6.
So again, that's why you dump. I was doing 12. I added 2 before the turn, and then I failed the roll, so that is my new speed is an 8. Alright, so that's going to be it for movement. I'm going to try to launch 3 more SAM-2s off of my things here, and I got 2 launches and 2 hits. So these missiles, again, they have to start from that launch point. 2 more SAM-2s just flew off the rails. And they are now approaching from the rear. That's going to be a problem. That's going to be one less modifier that I'm up against next phase. So the missile arc goes out to the M. Okay, on the turning wheel. Phantom number 2 can barely get this guy in his missile arc. He's just too close. That's the only problem there. That Sparrow is a medium-range missile. It can't engage a target that's this close. This is literally what you see in the movie when, in Top Gun, when they're always yelling in the cockpit, "I'm too close to missiles, I'm switching for guns." That's a true thing, and the game does actually reflect that. He is literally too close, he's switching to guns. Problem is, he is not, my planes are not in the gun arc. Gun arc, as you can see here on the turning wheel, let me zoom in a little bit, only goes out to 15 degrees on the side. So there's the gun arc, and the missile arc goes out to the M's. So again, blue dot to blue dot. Phantom number 2 can see MiG number 4 barely in his radar. The missile's just too close. His guns, he's a good guns range. The problem is you're out of the gun arc. This is just a function of me winning initiative. So again, gun arc, yeah, they've got him. The range is 1, 2, 3, 4. The range isn't great. Again, a quarter mile per grid. So this is actually a pretty long range gunnery check. But I will go ahead and try to do some gunnery. Okay. Our first gunnery phase of the game. We've got 2 MiG-17s with external gun pods. So these are the gunnery charts. 0 to 3 inches is a close range shot. Medium range is from 3 to 6 inches, and from 6 to 9 is a long range shot. I'm pretty sure these guys were between 3 and 1, 2, 3. Yeah, they're within 3 and they're between 3 and 6. So it's a medium range gunshot. My hit number jumps to a 5+ on a d6. So how many dice do I roll? Well, like I said, these guys have 3 dice of internal. Oh, let me turn on the webcam. 3 dice of internal guns. All right, no worries there. They have those 2 additional 37mm guns installed on each wing, or 1 on each wing. They're up to 5. Okay. Next, short burst, use 1 ammo, subtract 2d6. Normal burst, uses 2 points worth of ammo, no change. Sustained burst, I'm putting the hammer down. I'm never going to get a better shot than this. Uses up 3 ammo. My guns only carry, you'll notice down here, 7 ammo. So I'm going to use up about half my ammunition here, 3 out of 7. But I think it's worth it. So that adds 2d6. Adds 2d6. Gunnery attacks from the front are insanely hard. Because again, your maximum deflection, things get very, very difficult. Firing from target front or tail guns firing from target rear, whatever. Target from firing front, halve the dice. So whatever my dice is here, just whack that in half. I got a grand total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to whack that down to 4. That's half. You do round up. Okay, and now because I'm only at medium range and not short range, I have to roll a 5+ to score a hit. The good news for me is I have 2 planes. So I'm going to go ahead and get both of them out of the way at once. So that's 2 attacks at 4 dice apiece. And I'm looking for 5-ups. And it looks like I got 2 hits. So it's 2 gunnery hits on Phantom number 2.
Okay.
Additional damage. I roll 2 d10s on this additional damage chart. We're going to see what. We're going to see if anything extra happens. Oh, I don't have the webcam showing. Sorry, everybody. 1 and 2, they are both between 1 and 3. No extra damage. Obviously, if you can roll better than I just did, because I rolled terrible, you can get all kinds of additional cool stuff. If you get an 8, you go on the golden BB table. The golden BB is like basically that 1 in a million shot that you sometimes get. Now you go over to this table and you can like hit the pilot or blow up the fuel tank or set off one of the bombs. I mean, all kinds of crazy stuff happens on the golden BB table. But it's just 2 basic hits on, Phantom number 2. That's 2 boxes of damage. How many damage points does this thing have? It has quite a bit because it's a Phantom. Phantoms are pretty big and beefy. Come on, Excel. Damage points on an F4 Phantom is 8. So, yeah, you're less than 24. Less than 25%. Now, once you hit half your damage points, so for you it's 4, and for me it's 3. Once you hit half your damage points, your plane is considered crippled. And all kinds of weird things start to happen once that, you know. So, you're okay. You've been hit. But, yeah, your plane's okay for now. But you do have 2 points of damage. Okay, sir, are you going to place any maneuver cards for your 2 Phantoms?
Yes, I am. Where are they?
Now, your maneuver card can be a fake. You can put down a dummy, so
2 maneuver cards?
you can totally lie to me.
No, I've got the place down on the camera.
Awesome. I will go ahead and... Yeah, surprise, surprise, I'm doing another Emblem. You can probably see that when you saw my heat blooms, you know, kind of kick up. Why are those 2 MiG-17s going faster than they were a second ago? He's probably going to do something involving a drop in speed. It's probably an element. So, for the chat, he's probably going to try and get around behind me, and what I'm trying to do is pull an implement. I'll pull up above him, and when I roll back out, I'll be able to point any way I want, and with any luck, I'll be able to drop in behind him. But that depends on what Mr. Initiative does. What maneuvers, if any, did you declare for your 2 Phantoms?
Both my Phantoms will be doing a split S.
Nice.
That's why I went up by 2 and not 3, because if I fail it, my speed increases by 6, and that'll leave me at 24.
No worries. Oh, that's the wrong nationality there. I'm trying to turn you into a godless commie like I am. Alright, split S. Test for maneuvers. Yeah, we're going to test for maneuvers. So that's going to be Phantom number 1. You've got to make a modified 6 up on a D10.
Okay.
A 9.
You made it. All right.
I'm going to move the full 9 and face your 180.
A full 180 like that?
Yep.
Okay. Cool.
And increase speed by 2. I'll just go
Oh yeah, because the annual between 2 and 5, and you pick 2. Awesome. Now I have to move number 4. MiG number 1 has to move number 4. MiG number 1 is attempting an Immelman. Let's see if this works. Yeah, we're in a proper dogfight now. All right, Immelman. Let's see if he works. Come on, 8. He made it. I'm gonna pick none. I'm gonna stay out of your missile arc if I possibly can. Okay, that's a successful Immelman. This was a successful split S. We start off.
Second test.
Yep, 6 up.
A 6.
You made it barely. The plane was starting to sputter there, but you did make it. Okay, so you move now that you know exactly where that MiG-17 number 1 is. He's moved. You can take that into consideration when you're doing your movement. This is like literally the point of initiative. So anywhere up to this was again. I want to keep harping on this because this was the mistake that cost me the game against Gianna that time. I kept doing successful Immelmans and moving the full half. Well, you don't have to. Cool. So that's 2 successful split S's. He is done. Oh man, MiG 4. Where are you going? The war's this way. Literally, yeah, or the sunrise. Where the hell are you going, bro? He's about to collide with his two wingmen. He's like, dude, where are you going? Come back. All right, his speed is, again, I'm going to use the turn wheel. I should have declared an implement for him. He's the one that needs it. Goes out to 5. Yeah, you got it. This is the best turn I can make. I should have turned the other way. I literally just blundered right in front of you. Oh, jeez. Oh, well.
That's what I was hoping for.
That's, yeah, I should have broke left instead of right. Or reverse that. I should have broke right instead of left. And that's going to be it for movement. Resolved missiles fired last phase. Alright, so your man is going to fire 2 more chaffs. So that's going to assess a -1 penalty. I do not have the -1 penalty from having to fire from the front. I am firing from behind. That was the original target aspect from which the missiles were launched last turn. So those missiles are coming from behind. I have a +1 penalty because of your chaff. No +1 penalty because of target aspect. My 7 goes up to an 8. I have 2 chances at an 8+ on D10s. Uncle Ho is watching! Come on, do it! Yeah, 2 misses. These Sams aren't doing squat, man, against your Phantoms. And that's 2 more Sam 2s fired. I only have 2 left. You know what? Phantom number 2 has just enough heat glow to launch a Sidewinder if he wants.
He will?
Okay. The other guy's going to have to launch a Sparrow because you're like the bottom of that ruler, which bisects my little blue dot there on my MiG-17. When you zoom in so the chat can see, yeah, you're looking at exactly where the 180 arc is. So Phantom number 2 can see. He can pick. He can launch either one. Phantom number 1 has to launch a Sparrow or nothing. Okay, so Phantom number 2 is going to try and launch a Sidewinder.
Yep.
Is this first one. Infrared, you are in the rear 180. You're at more than 7 and less than 18. It's a 4+ to get a lock, and you're a good pilot, so knock that down by 1. You need a 3+ on a D10.
A 7.
Boom, Sidewinder away. Yeah, you see how easy it is.
Oh yeah.
American equipment is pretty nice. All those tax dollars go somewhere. Okay, the other guy has a Sparrow. He has to roll against his plane's radar. There's no radar in the missile. He has to launch using the plane's radar. So how good a Sparrow is depending on what plane is carrying it. Phantom 2s in 1968 had a 5+ radar. Again, you're a good pilot. Knock that down to a 4+ to lock on with a Sparrow.
Yep. Okay. I'll so a 4+. A 4.
Cool. It barely locked on, but you got 2 missiles in the air, 1 medium and 1 light, or 1 medium and 1 short. So, okay, so the medium range missile is coming on my front, and the short range missile is coming on my tail, or technically it's coming on my beam. These 2 MiGs are close enough for guns, and they have you in the arc. It's just going to be a terrible shot, but I'll take it. I gotta do something. Now the difference is that now I'm at greater than 6 inches. This is now a long range shot. 3 ups don't hit, 5 ups don't hit. I have to hit on a 6 up because I'm at extreme range. It's spray and pray time. Let's get ready to blast some fools. So 1 hit. We will now roll on the additional damage table. I got another 1, so no additional damage. That is going to be 1 more hit on Phantom number 2. Phantom number 2 is starting to smoke a little bit. Again, bad things start happening when you hit 4, so word to the wise. Okay, now, these missiles do still hit, and they're hitting on the original arc. So I'm just going to put him in the front arc like he was, and him in the side rear arc like he was. And he does have a break, which is going to give him a bonus when it comes to evading those missiles, which is good because I carry no chaff or flares. All right, now I think we have some dice offs for initiative. We both have 9s.
So the way initiative. So the lowest pilot rating moves first.
Okay, we both are goods.
Okay. Then the slowest aircraft.
That would be me because I'm going 14. You're going 23. So I go first.
7.
See, this is what happens, folks, when you actually send the guy the rule book beforehand. He thinks he knows all the rules, and he starts, like, quoting pages and correcting you in the middle of a stream. But no, I'm just kidding.
It was 5 minutes ago. I saw there was a time. I'm like, oh crap! Control F initiative.
Resolve missiles that launched last turn. So we do have 2 missiles that launched last turn. That is the Sparrow that's hitting my front, and the Sidewinder that's coming up from behind me. Alright, so this is going to get a little complex. But let's see what happens. Alright, I gotta think. First, we'll do the Sparrow first. So the Sparrow has a to-hit chance of 7. Reduce that to a 6 because of your pilot skill. So you're starting on a 6+. I have no chaff, because I'm a cheap communist and I don't have any actual equipment in my plane. So I'm at a 6+. SARH missile fired from target front. Yes, you're at a 7+. Target did a successful brake turn or VIF. More 3. Now you're at a 10+. Yeah, that Sparrow has a 10+ to hit me.
Yep.
Okay. You never know, I get lucky.
7.
Okay, the Sparrow missed. The Sidewinder is going to be a little more accurate. Sidewinder starts at a 4. Sidewinder goes down to a 3 because of pilot skill. Sidewinder goes... IR missile from target front or target beam. Neither of those apply. Actually, target beam does apply. So it goes from a 3 back to a 4. And I did do a successful brake turn, -3. So it's a 7+. No.
Yep.
Yeah, 7+ to hit with the 40% chance. 7+ to hit on the Sidewinder.
8.
Boom! That's a hit! 1d10 for damage.
Okay. A 10.
10. Splash that sucker! Yeah!
Get ready to launch. Look, Sean, I'm taking a shot. Fire! Bingo! Launch that sucker, yeah!
No rolls required, because the thing only has 6 damage points. That is... blew him out of the sky. That is the end of Make 17, number 4. He did his best. He did a brake turn. He dodged the first missile. Not so much the second one. Now he has 6 damage points. You exceeded him by 4. So you definitely blew him out of the sky. And unfortunately for me, those Make 17s have the hazardous ejection rule. They don't eject very easily. So the normal ejection rule is a 3+ on D10, goes up to a 4+ because he has the hazardous ejection rule. And you exceeded my damage by 4, because that's basically how big of an explosion it was, how hard it is to punch out of that. So it goes up to an 8. So it's 3 + 1 + 8. 3 is the base, 1 for hazardous ejection, 4 for excess on damage. He's an 8+ on a D10. Uncle Ho, help me! Let me fight for you another day. He succeeds. He punched out of that bird. He's gonna go back. They're gonna give him a new plane. He actually survived that explosion. But that plane is out of gas. Good shooting, Tex. Okay, that was it for resolving missiles last turn. Turn on Mr. Webcam again. Those last 2 SAMs, get off the rails, guys. Come on. 4 and a 3, they both failed. You guys suck.
Hopefully we get some more students.
Yep, that's good. This parachutist is going to land. He's going to flag down a truck. He's going to drive down this road. And when he gets to that SAM battery, he's just going to put like 2 pistol rounds in each of the radar operators. I got shot down because you guys are sitting here on the ground drinking coffee, eating donuts. I'm up there flying my ass off and I still get shot down. Okay, there's no more missiles to resolve or launch. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't. There are more missiles to launch. I'm sorry. Looks like Phantom number 2 has a potential missile lock on MiG number 3.
Oh, yep, yep.
Now, again, Phantom 3 is just barely canted to the southeast instead of the south, so you are
Yep.
shooting at the target front. Is the long and short of that. So no Sidewinder lock is possible. However, you are within the band if you want to try and sling a Sidewinder. I'm sorry, a Sparrow at him.
I'll send a Sparrow to him.
Cool. Try to lock on with a 5+. That is your plane's onboard radar. -1 for your pilot skill. 4+.
7.
That is another Sparrow off the rails. Fox 2 on another Sparrow.